Hello, beautiful people. So, today I wanted to talk about the shifts that we have noticed from when we were children ourselves to now when we are parents. There has been such a massive shift in terms of our awareness that many parents I talk to are like not even able to rely on the past parenting. Maybe a few nuggets that really worked. Like in my family, we had unconditional love as like a pillar, as well as like spirituality, believing in our higher power, that there is a higher power creator that created us, and we can pray and align with it and it will have our back, right? So those are like a couple of the golden nuggets. But the rest of it around our like emotional understanding, around being able to really be connected to our inner experience. This is the biggest shift, is that when we were little, correct me if I'm wrong, comment below and subscribe and share if this is resonating with you. But when we were little, our focus was on the doing, right? We were human doers, not human beings, or we were more human doers, and the focus and the attention and the praise and the feedback and everything that we got as children was focused on our behavior and what we did as children, whether we did well in school, whether we cleaned our rooms, whether we were nice to our siblings, whether we listened to our parents, whether we performed at whatever thing they signed us up for, right? And not much on what was going on in the inner world, where most parents I talk to, or most of my friends, adults right now, especially those who have children, are grew up kind of focusing their energy and the interactions with their parents on what was happening outside in the outside world, and keeping what's going on the inside kind of private. You know what I mean? Maybe we had some good friends that we could talk to, but it was certainly not our parents showing curiosity, right? So that's one big shift. The other big shift was we were focused always on the future. I'm going to do this, this, and this to get there. It wasn't about like the actual process, the journey itself, like really slowing down and kind of being in the moment, being present with the studying, or like the process of studying, or the process of what it's like to be each age. I remember always thinking about, oh, when I'm older, right? That song, like, when I'm older, everything will be, so much better, right? So there wasn't a lot of focus on the journey itself, the present moment experiences, using our awareness. Like all of this is all very new age, right? So very much about future. The other one was about external, right? The external responses we got, the external validation, the praise, the grades, the money we made, the everything, the identification with whatever we created on the outside meant this nicer house, this nicer car, these nicer clothes. I remember being obsessed with like my makeup and my clothes and, name brand, this and that, and what that all meant, and where we lived and what people thought. And if you made your house a certain way, was for the guests and what they thought about you. Kind of gave me the feedback of like, oh, then I'm doing something right. So not just our parents, but that also got extended to the friends, the family, society, community, neighbors, teachers, whoever it was on the outside. And that's where we got our source of feedback. And so now we're shifting more towards an internal locus of control, an internal self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion. Like it's all from the inside out. But when we were growing up, it was from the outside in, right? So that's a big flip. And the other thing that was like a driving force was the shame, right? Like if you didn't do something right, then you were to be ashamed of yourself. Ever heard that lecture? You should be embarrassed, right? That would be the thing. Like if I wasn't nice to my siblings, my mom would be like, you should be, ashamed of yourself. Basically in Farsi, that was how it translated. You were just made to feel bad about yourself as a person, rather than now we're more using guilt, which is like, oh, I just did something that maybe I shouldn't have done so that I can correct it, right? And all the counseling work that we do is about kind of separating the person from the problem and saying the person is good, but the problem was whatever behavior, activity, addiction, um, violence, whatever they did, so that they have a relationship with the problem, but the problem is a problem, not the person, if that makes sense, right? But growing up, it was all internalized, right? And there wasn't a place again to release all the thoughts, the feelings, the inner experience around the messages that we received. So we were given all these messages. We were so heavily reliant on these messages from the outside world, but we didn't also have a place to process, what was going on the inside. It was just all kind of sitting on the inside, and we had to kind of figure it out, right? And the other part was I grew up in a collectivist kind of culture, which it was my personal needs were secondary to the collective needs, the needs of the greater good. And now we're moving towards more the individualistic, and then trusting that if the individual on the inside feels good, is fueled. This is what I help moms with a lot of times, is fueling moms on the inside so that they're pouring from a full cup. The idea is that you treat people the way you feel on the inside, or you do things on the outer world, right? Like what you buy, what you consume, what kind of company you keep based on your inner view about yourself, right? And so even now, like the wisdom teachers and all that are talking about, if you want to create something that you want in your life, get yourself in that state. So meaning the internal feeling and experience, like really putting yourself in that state, that vibrational state. Like what would it feel like if I had the income that I want? What would it feel like if I had that peace with myself, with my children, with my husband? What would it feel like if my home looked beautiful and organized and decluttered, right? Like a lot of us moms are just like, there's just so much mess, it's overwhelming, right? So it's about putting that energetic state out there first, and then the universe and yourself have kind of no choice. Joe Dispenza talks about this as well, that you create the state, the vibration, Abraham Hicks as well, that you want to step into, and then the universe starts to create that match. So you become like that magnet, that super attractor to whatever you are seeking, right? So there's been a lot of shifts. Now, what do we do with that? Why is that so important? Well, in my work as a therapist and a hypnotherapist, is to help clients really have that understanding that we are creating a brand new blueprint. Now, it's exciting and difficult at the same time, right? Because we don't have our history to rely on. There's all of this history, which is kind of our intergenerational patterns that we're actually trying to break from, right? So we're creating a brand new blueprint, which means a lot of times we are going to fall. A lot of times we are going to make those mistakes in order to do the retakes, right? And another thing I really help clients understand is that each challenge or struggle, trauma, drama, whatever is happening in your life, first of all, the concept of our soul contracted to do this, right? Now this becomes super clear. It came super clear for me when I was in hypnosis, and I did go visit kind of like the birth room where my soul was just energy, and look down upon this life that I was choosing to step into. And I was choosing to step into a role with my mom, seeing, and the world, seeing kind of like the dark, thick clouds of the just what's happened in this world, our history, our human history, right? There's these thick, rolling, dark clouds, and then underneath was this like beautiful light, right? There was just all of these plaques of light, looked like these hockey puck size like lights, and I even had a dream about this, so I know it's all confirmed, that these lights were just like shooting through, right? They were kind of like igniting and shooting through the darkness. I could see like the rays of light. And this is why I'm so passionate about being alive in this era, being a mom of 3, being married, like all of my challenges, and then having a family history that had the entire gamut. Without getting into too many details, I grew up where there was addiction, there was mental health issues, there was war and trauma and immigration and refugee and rations and poverty and food banks. What else? Physical health, like my mom and dad both have heart conditions and fibromyalgia, diabetes, like blood pressure, you name it, right? So I've had to see all of this struggle and be super close to these people who had these deep struggles. Sahara Rose was talking about this in her podcast today that I listened to, that I've known this, that I chose this destiny, and so have you, right? So really looking at to why we've chosen this time to be born, to be alive. If you're a parent, why you are a parent, and what your children are bringing up for you, as well as, my children chose me. They chose to come into this family system, right? So what are they here to teach as well as to learn, right? Because it goes both ways. And this is a symbol of infinity. My beautiful sister gifted this to me. I've been wanting this for over a year, and just last night she gifted this to me. The reason the infinity is so symbolic for me is because a few things. When I was growing up in Sufi school, when we did the chants and the meditations, it was always in this like figure 8. And the idea of the figure 8 was that it creates, when you're doing your head movements in this infinity rotation, it creates kind of like a locus, like a focus point, right? Where the idea is that you clear, and this is the channel where all your chakras are. You opening these channels for divine light to come in. So you're creating the condition, the opening, the condition for that pure divine light to pour in. The other one was when I was pregnant with my first son, I looked up ways to have like natural birth, and I came across 2 hypnobirthing videos, which were around hip movements, right? So they were like the circular, which was like how, trees grow, everything kind of grows, everything blossoms in a circular fashion, as well as the figure 8 or the infinity, right? So that really helped me give birth to my child. And the third reason is that this infinity is about what you give out rotates and comes back to you. So it's kind of like infinity turned this way, right? So whatever energy we're putting out there, it's going to come back to us, and then back and forth, right? So being mindful about that is where I really help people really tap in to how they are creating the life they have, the lessons, unpacking the lessons that are there, helping people really feel safe within themselves, trusting themselves, really activating that light that's within you. And that's my biggest purpose in this life. That's like my soul purpose. That's what I came because I saw the light from up above that's within all of us human beings, that divine light. And I saw the dark clouds at the same time. And so my job is to help people detect the patterns in their lives, and then create connection to their free will to choose what it is they want, and then help them take the steps that create that shift, right? And then the wiring and everything that pulls you back, those are like the blocks. It takes a while. So supporting you, believing in you, knowing that it's in there, that it's calling you, but also helping you enjoy the process, because it is a journey. It's not a destination. So if this stuff resonates, please subscribe to my channel. Please share with your friends, family, whoever you feel could really benefit from this deep understanding of how the old paradigm of parenting was compared to the new one, and all the challenges that lie therein. So how important it is to have that self-compassion and have support in your life to help you have that compassion, because we're all in this together. As we raise ourselves, we can help raise our children more consciously than ever before. All right. Much love to you all. Take care.